Lights off, turned on. Hear that slow song. Girl, I can feel everything. Smell your perfume, taste of loving you. Baby, it's turning on. My senses, they get it. There's nothing they're missing. They're fuel for the fire. They're taking me higher. My senses got me focused in on you. We're doing all the little things you do to my senses. Midnight heartbeats whisper to me. I crave every curve of your body. You know how to make me want you. Yourself, everyone. My senses, they get it. There's nothing they're missing. They're fuel for the fire. They're taking me higher. My senses got me focused in on you. We're doing all the little things you do to my senses. Oh, my senses. My senses, I can't control it. No, I can't help it. There's nothing they're missing. They're fuel for the fire. They're taking me higher. My senses got me focused in on you. We're doing all the little things you do to my senses. And oh, my senses, they're taking me higher. My senses, they're fuel for the fire. My senses.
Now, that song was called Census, which is the title track off the new album by Danny McMahon. And Danny is our artist of the month. And from sunny Bristol, no, it's snowing in Bristol. Welcome, Danny, to the Bridge Country. How are sales of the album going?
Incredible. I literally, yeah, it's been such a whirlwind, such a roller coaster. I knew when we put the record together that it was the best thing that we'd done. I was confident of that. It just felt like a really sort of like, you know, cohesive set of songs that made a lot of sense. I'd say it was a super collaborative project in terms of, I think there was almost 20 people contributed to this record in some way, shape or form. So I knew it was, you know, just by that alone, I thought that it was probably going to end up being, the best thing that we put out to date. But the response has been unbelievable. I mean, the best way that I can track it by a lot of the time that we do now is through the Spotify engagement. When we first, as I say, just before the very first song on this record came out, so obviously we put Lights of Our Hometown out as a single in like October, and at that point I had about 450 monthly listeners on Spotify. As it stands, I think I've got about 13,000 as of today. So
I mean, that is successful. Yeah, that's good news. Now, the guys playing with you on it, are they your regular band? Do you have a regular band, or do you pick guys for the different gigs?
Yeah, I've got a different. I mean, I have a regular band for live gigs. So I've got Drea Succi, who's my producer, on guitar, Sam Sanders on drums, and Ben Nichols on bass. But in the studio, my setup's different. I actually bring in exclusive session players, essentially, just for the who just work as near enough as studio guys. So I've got Jay Cook on drums. I've got Dan Plimmer on bass. I'm playing pretty much all the guitars on the record, near enough always do. I've got Drea Succi is my producer as well. So he's doing some of the guitars layers as well. So Harry Cook on keys. Obviously got steel guitar. Have Brad Harper come in and do those, phenomenal steel player. So yeah, and obviously then you got the co-writing side of it as well. As I say, every song on this record was a co-write, which was again another new thing as far as every song on the record being a co-write. Yeah.
So who co-wrote Senses with you?
So I worked on Senses with it was essentially 3 different writers, but I was sent the song by Bobby Evans. So it's basically him and his writing team, and we started working on it from there essentially. So yeah, Bobby's an incredible writer, but he sent me sort of like 5 or 6 songs that he was sort of like starting to work on. But the one that it was what I loved about Senses is that he's kind of like formulated the idea anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually nice to sort of just be able to sort of like embrace the song purely as a listener in a way, and kind of go, I love that, and then take it to, you know, take my stance on it, and, you know, move it forward in the studio, you know, with my instrumentation and all that side of it. But for Bobby to present me a song like that was humbling. Actually, it was absolutely humbling.
And what made you choose that as the title song for the album?
Lots of different things. It had the element of like it opened up like the whole. I mean, each of those songs very much was very much relevant to like the senses. So and I thought, well, obviously, as far as like, you know, branding and like creating the visually and the aesthetic for the record, like the concept of senses was such a sort of, you know, an open-ended concept, basically.
Okay.
And that's what I loved about it. And for me, it was, I just went with my gut, and I was like, what's my favorite song that we put together from this record? And I also felt like that was going to be the one that felt like the most me in that moment, I guess.
Now, funny you say that, because the song I enjoyed most on the album is These Hands.
Right.
That really sort of moved me. What was the inspiration, and who did you co-write that with?
So I wrote that with a girl called Lauren Campbell, who I write a lot of stuff with. I wrote Best Worst Habit with her as well, which is a single that came out in 2020. And I just really felt like with These Hands, yeah, with Lauren, like, you know, we know each other super well. We're really good friends, sort of, you know, outside the songwriting sphere. But I just really felt like we kind of connected with a really sort of like relevant concept, in the sense that it was, you know, she sends me this WhatsApp message, and she's like, Danny, I've written a song about hands. And I was like, okay, that could be anything really. And she said to me, she was like, no, I think it could potentially end up being like a wedding song. And I was like, hold on, we've got a song about hands, we've got a song about this kind of like this concept of a wedding song. I was like, kind of what's going on here? And then as soon as I started reading those lyrics, I was like, yes, that makes so much sense. And it's what I loved about it is sort of like that. It just takes you through all those stages of life, and it's sort of like a universal concept, as I say, you know, from being a kid and, you know, catching the ball in the park with your dad, like all the way through to, you know, having your own family, but your hands are always attached to you, and they experience all those things, or all those, you know, elements of life with you. And I feel like, yeah, because you can kind of relate to that, you know, no matter what age you are. And I think that's when you've got a song that's sort of like, you know, like very freely sort of available across, like, you know, all demographics. I feel like that's something like, you know, as I say, it's you kind of feel like you've struck like a really cool idea, concept, moment in your songwriting when you can achieve something like that lyrically, I think.
Okay, let's have a listen to it.
Collecting shells out on the beach with my grandparents. I couldn't move them fast enough. Looking for diamonds in the rough. They took a graze or two. When I take a stumble out in the yard, they always made it through. And I swear I feel the sting from where I catch that ball under those baseball swings. But that was then, and this is now, and I can't wait until there. Pushing our kids out in the yard on a swing I built. Yeah, they'll work so hard to give you all the life that you deserve. These hands will hold on to yours as we sail through storms. When life gets ugly and shows its horns, and if you fall, just know you won't slip through. These hands will grow old with you. They are more than the eye can see. Back when I was wild and free, but full of insecurities. But that was then, and this is now, and I can't wait until there. I'm pushing our kids out in the yard on a swing I built. You'll work so hard to give you all the life that you deserve. These hands will hold on to yours as we sail through storms. When life gets ugly and shows its horns, and if you fall, just know you won't slip through. These hands will grow old with you. So when you take my hand, you take all the memories. When I say I do, you know they'll always stay true. And the circle of gold, only stories untold. Girl, I give to you. They'll be pushing our kids out in the yard on a swing I built. Yeah, they'll work so hard to give you all the life that you deserve. These hands will hold on to yours as we sail through storms. When life gets ugly and shows its horns, and if you fall, just know you won't slip through. These hands will grow old with you. With you, with you, with you. These hands will grow old with you.
I still think that's a lovely song. Now, one of the things I often ask guests on this chat is, if you weren't a singer-songwriter and performing gigs, or that didn't work out, what is plan B? But you already have a plan B because you run Puzzle Maker Studios, so you produce records and things like that. So you have a kind of alternative if the performing doesn't work out. When did you start that?
Yeah, so that's a really great question, actually. I mean, for me, like, all my absolute dream, my absolute goal from the age of 16 was just to be able to do music for a job. So, and I think that was, I kind of, what that allowed me to do is it kind of just allowed me to sort of like embrace and trust the process of it all, because there's so much that's going on, and as musicians, you know, you have to wear so many hats anyway, but that's what that allowed me to do. And yeah, I mean, I started that basically whilst I was at university. I really liked the idea of having my own business with my business partner, who's also my producer and my guitarist. So someone that I really, really trust and really work well with. And I like really liked the idea of not being in control, because that doesn't put it across very nicely at all. But being able to sort of like, you know, as I say, have almost like as a musician, like a lot of what you do is very much like out of your control. You're always at the mercy of, you know, somebody's opinion about what it is they may think about you, or where they may pigeonhole you, or all of those kind of things. So to have, like, for me, sort of like a nucleus, like a home, a safe space, which is for me, which very much is Puzzle Maker Studios. It's where, you know, everything that I do stems from.
And you've got a pretty good list of country artists or UK country artists that you produce there. If you look at like Bailey Tompkinson, Hicktown Breakout, Kelsey Bovey, Bob Fitzgerald, Gareth Nugent, Becky Lawrence, Charlotte Young. That's a pretty good list, Danny.
Yeah. It's we've done, you know, as I say, I mean, our dream, and you know, it's what Google tells us anyway. So I guess what you kind of go with. The dream is to be sort of like if you're making a country record in the UK, that's where I wanted people to want to go. And then, you know, as I say, if you put that in on Google, it's the first thing that comes up. So, you know, country recording studio, we're there.
Do you feel that constrains you, though, just to country, or do you think you've got a broad enough mindset to do different styles of country?
Look, for me, it was very much about, like, you know, I mean, creating a hub for country music, because there wasn't one. I think for me, it was kind of the way that we saw it. I've been in signed rock bands, I've been in pop bands, I've done the works. Like, I used to play guitar in a jazz band. I've played guitar in a funk and soul band. Like, I've done the lot, you know. So I have that sort. I'd like to think I've kind of got quite that sort of, as far as genres are concerned, that quite universal understanding. But for me, just like when I'm writing, when I'm producing, when I'm making music, my soul doesn't respond in the same way as when I make the music that we're making now. And that's purely what it comes down to. I just have a genuine love, a genuine passion for the first time I ever saw country music live. Like, it just ignited a fire in my soul, and that's the only way that I can explain it.
And when was the first country music you saw live?
Yeah, so I mean, I listened to it a lot. It was always around. My dad is like #1 Eagles fan, so that was like my sort of like introduction to that sound, that style. But I didn't actually go into my first country show until, I want to say, like 2016, late 2016 maybe. I think it was Chris Young, and then my first C2C was 2017. So came into it quite late as far as going to actually see it, but I think that for me is what gave it a much more sort of human quality. I think is sort of like being able to see how these artists presented themselves, how they related to their music, how how authentic it was, I guess, to be quite honest. I think that sums it up pretty well. It's just like, it's about the music, it's about writing great songs, and the whole, because I was, at the time I was doing like pop music, and you do, like, you know, both as a commercial writer and as an artist, and you know, you do at times have to, I mean, we all do to some degree, but you always have to sort of, you know, play the game, as it were. But there didn't seem to be as much of that in country music, and actually it is very much the truth. Like, having been to Nashville, and you know, you'll see, you know, Chris Young at the bar on a Thursday night buying everyone shots, just sort of like, you know, being one of the guys. That's what I love about it. It's not only the music, it's the culture, it's the way of being that I'm massively in love with as well.
Just coming back to the album, you mentioned when we started this chat about releasing the first song off the album back in October, which was Lights of Our Hometown. What was the inspiration behind that song?
Yeah, good question. That went on a massive journey, that song. So I think probably I was sent a few ideas and lyrics by a Canadian writer, a guy called Ryan James, sort of about 2 years prior. And we sort of just like, you know, started like working on little ideas, sent over sort of like, you know, little scratch tapes here and there. And then originally I was proposed the idea by Ryan of duetting it with a British artist. However, as you know, the more we were speaking, I got introduced to Jenny Grace, who is obviously based over in the States. And he was like, look, I'd love you to do it with Jenny. Like, she's a wonderful artist. I love her voice. Amazing. But we just obviously, you know, there's the practical element of it. But obviously, you know, having my own studio was massively beneficial. But I think it was almost sort of like quite a sort of like a symbolic of the moment, really, because obviously we did this whole thing. Like, it started in Canada. I started working on it over here, lay down a load of demos, sent it over to Jenny. She then basically went down to Nashville, cut her vocals, and then sent it back here all during lockdown. Which was, you know, I think it's quite a little story in it, even in itself, that song. And I think for me, that's really what I got out of it. It was as much the process as it was about the story or the sort of the lyrical content, again, which for me just like it needed to be that super universal concept, and I think that came across really well. Obviously having that, you know, that first love that, you know, that this particular person who's singing this is really gravitating to, and you've got, you know, these two sides either side of the story who, you know, they both really miss each other but they don't know it, sort of thing. I think it was there was a lot of elements of that song that were a good story to tell, for sure.
Field lights on Friday nights, those drop everything kind of drives with you. 100 photos loaded with regrets, far more memories that I won't forget. A drop tailgate, this town's a blade. The only thing that I can think's to get away with you. Under the lights of our hometown, with love since 17, that old hand-me-down, you and me, and I just can't figure out why I can't move on, why my heart comes back so strong. You have me spinning round and round and round, under the lights of our hometown.
Sometimes I wish it wouldn't hurt. I think it's sad, but then the fire starts to burn. Try my best to drink it all away, but somehow I still always find my way to you.
A drop tailgate, this town's a blade. The only thing that I can think's to get away with you. Under the lights of our hometown, love since 17, that old hand-me-down, you and me, and I just can't figure out why I can't move on, why my heart comes back so strong. You have me spinning round and round and round, under the lights of our hometown. I'm living in the right here, right now,
Till you come back around,
under the lights of our hometown. A drop tailgate, this town's a blade. Under the lights of our hometown, and love since 17, that old hand-me-down, you and me, and I just can't figure out why I can't move on, why my heart comes back so strong. You have me spinning round and round and round and round and round, under the lights of our hometown.
You talked there when you were introducing the song about the collaboration across two continents. And I think that's one thing that lockdown, in a way, has changed the music industry. And there's a lot more remote recording and sharing and writing with people all around the world. You don't all have to be in the same room. Do you find it easy to write remotely like that, or is it easier to get in the same room as somebody? What's, your process?
I mean, I think as far as lockdown was concerned, and that's actually what I found when I came to recording this Census as a record as well, is that you kind of almost didn't have a choice, and because we couldn't really do anything else, it's sort of it's almost baptism by fire, really. That whole situation. Like at first, I was doing so many writes, and I was doing them with people all over the world, and I was just like, this doesn't, it doesn't feel the same, but it is what it is. But actually, come the end of the process, I mean, to have access to, writing a song with someone like Austin Burke, who's like played the Grand Ole Opry, who wrote "Good or Gone" with me on Senses, was incredible. Like, he's one of my favorite artists, but I think in normal times he'd be off touring and opening for Dierks Bentley and whoever else he's opened for. So I had to have the opportunity to write a song with somebody like him, obviously Bobby, to have all these guys that are based in Nashville, and actually to be able to write songs with them even though I couldn't get there, I think was kind of like the next best thing. And as I say, when it came to writing this record, it was actually very reflective in for me in the quality of the songs that had been written. And I think sometimes in the music industry you kind of like, it's very easy to sort of like become annoyed or frustrated with what's here. But actually the thing that's happening here, right in front of your face, could actually in a year, 2 years time, a lot of the time you turn around and you go, okay, I get why that had to happen now.
Yeah.
And for me, that was very much that moment. Like, I remember that frustration of not being able to go out and play shows during that period of time. We were on such a roll. We just got back from like a tour in like Germany and the States, and we weren't able to do that. But actually, when it came to let's say putting this record together, I was like, man, we've got like 50 songs for a 6-track record, and like the level of co-write is just far above and beyond anything that I've been able to access before. So for me, you actually turn around and you go, actually, that was a massive blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I think there's a few artists that found that, and I think it's opened up different ways of delivering the music through Zoom, through Facebook live streams. All of that stood in and gave both audiences, who I think have discovered artists they didn't know before, through that medium. And it's changed the way we think about a lot of things. Now, you spoke about doing live gigs. How are live gigs shaping up for the summer?
Mad, to be honest. This year has just been crazy already. Obviously, we've done we did the tour dates for the release of Senses. Obviously, just played Country to Country Festival, absolute dream come true. That was mad. And then we've got loads of festivals all over the summer. I'm going to the States twice, I think, before the end of the year. So we're doing like a stint on the West Coast and up to Idaho in June, and then heading out with the band to Nashville in September. And then we've got hopefully some shows towards the end of the year as well. So basically the entire year is pretty much booked out, which is... And
you got many British festivals to do?
Yes, we do. So keep my gig calendar in front of me just so I don't forget anything. But yeah, no, we've got some really good ones. So as far as British festivals are concerned, we've got like Bath Party in the City, which is going to be great. I love that festival. That's like a non-genre, all-genre festival. Also, we're doing the Carlisle Country Music Festival. We've got Rock and Ribs. We're playing at Lechlade Festival, which is another all-genre one. It's nice to have sort of like the variation between the two, really, which is cool. And then I'm playing over in County Meath and doing some stuff over there, over in Ireland as well. We've got Test Fest in Taunton in June. We've got the new BCMA Fan Fest that we're playing in July. You say Rock and Ribs is in July as well. We've got Crawfest in July. There's a few more, but I won't bore anyone any further. But yeah, there's a lot booked in, which is going to be great fun.
That's good. Awkward question, this one. Which do you prefer best? Getting intense producing someone in the studio or playing live music to a live audience?
Great question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. That's a great question. For me, I love my time in the studio. I love my business. I love that I've been able to achieve that with my life. I'm so fortunate and blessed to be able to do music professionally, first and foremost, before I even answer that question. That is, for me, the fundamental thing that I wake up every day, sit in my car to go to the gym, and then to know that I'm doing that with my day. As I say, I couldn't feel more lucky. It's a lot of hard work, but it's been an absolutely incredible journey. But for me, it always comes back. There is no feeling like for me when I get up on that stage with my guitar in my hand and go out and play to an audience that you're able to connect with emotionally over music. There is nothing. It goes beyond sort of as even like that sort of like spiritual experiences. That there's just nothing else like it. Like for me, that's why I write songs, is to be able to communicate that sense of universal emotion in a space, to create that energy somewhere in that, you know, said given moment. There's nothing more special than that. I don't think if I ever find anything in my life that comes close to sort of that in my professional world anyway, I'll be amazed, put it that way.
Now, one of the other songs you mentioned that was on the album was Good or Gone. And you've told us how that's traveled the world in its writing and production. One thing we've not done, though, is said to the audience how they can get their hands on the album, where they go to.
Yeah.
So this is your chance for a plug, mate.
Fabulous. Yeah, so if you want to check my stuff out, if you want to access everything in one place, obviously the easiest place is the website, which is dannymcmahon.co.uk. Obviously across socials, I am just Danny McMahon UK on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And say if you want to stream the music, then go ahead and stream it. Just type in my name on Spotify and I should come up on there.
Danny, thank you for a great chat. Some nice thoughts. I hope we get you some business for Puzzle Maker Studios.
Yes.
And congratulations on being the Bridge Country's Artist of the Month for April.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate your time.
They say you wanna leave, go find what you need, but you left a couple shirts in my top drawer. You said you needed space, another time, another place, but you still show up drunk in my back door. Place the blame on me, 'cause you needed more. I guess I'll wait and see just what you're looking for. What you're looking for. Do you wanna leave this town, mess around and settle down, roaming far away just to come right back around? Do you wanna face this fight, or do you wanna fight all night? I can't reach you, my baby, so tell me what you like. I can't move on until you let me know I'm good as gone, so are we good or gone? I know what I want, never had no second thoughts, but I knew it from the moment I saw you. I know that it's been hard, but the hardest part watching you slip away, so before you break my heart, yeah, break my heart. Do you wanna leave this town, mess around and settle down, roaming far away just to come right back around? Do you wanna face this fight, or do you wanna fight all night? I can't reach you, my baby, so tell me what you like. I can't move on until you let me know we're good as gone, so are we good or gone? Let's give it one last dance, let's give it one last chance. You're gonna do it your way, so I guess I'll just wait. Do you wanna leave this town, mess around or settle down, roll far away just to come right back around? Do you wanna face this fight, or do you wanna fight all night? I can't reach you, my baby, so tell me what you like.